Good evening, everyone. I'm back on the bench table thingy here today. After that disappointment PS4 Slim that I was unable to fix, let's move on to something that should be much easier. So we've got an Xbox One X here with the E102, E106 error. So let's start by booting it up and just showing you that error. I've already got it hooked up my TV up here. And E106. Now I fixed a few Xbox Ones like this before, and it's usually caused by a hard drive error. So let me move it back over, get you set up to be over the Xbox, and start taking this thing apart. Alright, all set up, and you're going to see the front of the Xbox is right over here on this side, so we're going to flip it around to the back, and you'll find two screws, one over here on the left side, and one that's covered up by an anti-tamper whatever detection sticker. Used to be called a warranty sticker, but that's no longer a warranty sticker. Anti-breaking warranty, whatever. Anyways, let me take this sticker off, and the screws that are under here are T10, so T10 screws. So I've just got it. They should be T10. Oh, this is a star bit. That's the wrong one. Oh, so it means that I would have put the T10 back where the star bit is at. And my bits over here. I'm very unprepared. I have no idea where it's at. It's hidden. See, is this right? There we go. Okay, I'll put that back later. Now, T10 screw, T10 bit, and they're very tight. Normally I would use my electric bits, but these are a little bit tighter, or electric screwdrivers, but yeah, these ones are a lot more tighter. Just getting it in there. These are a lot larger of a screw. Off to the side. Nice and easy. So once those two screws are out, you just take it. You're going to want to slide this plastic plate forward towards the front of the Xbox. Lift up one side, and then the other side should lift right out. There's like a channel here. Sometimes if it doesn't want to lift out along the channel like it's supposed to, you can just wiggle it and finagle it, jiggle it around, do a little wiggle, 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 yeah. This one's not wanting to cooperate. So you can also just slide it forward completely and force it out. So that's part of it done. And then we only want to get to the hard drive, which is right under here. And there's a few screws holding this underside plastic piece onto the entire metal casing. Also T10 screws. So I'm going to grab my handle here, and this one I'm going to switch over to the electric screwdriver, the big heavy duty one, make things a little bit easier. So let me get these out. So that's it for that'll disconnect the the bottom part from the case. The next thing is we'll take out these four screws holding the hard drive in, because I'm going to get to that once I flip it over. And then these two screws that hold this little ribbon cable connector thing that goes to the front USB port, USB 3.0. So these are T8 screws. So I'll do these four first. Do not try to rip it or move it or try to yank it off. You just want to. If you got long fingernails, it helps a little bit. Just wiggle it under there, this one of the edges, and just lift straight up, and it'll pop right off. And be careful with this. There's a lot of data lines running through this, as well as power and ground going to the USB port on the front. And if you rip it, you could completely ruin it. So that one's undone, and there's also a ribbon cable that goes to this daughter board on the front that controls the Wi-Fi. I think Wi-Fi connect chip. I'm really not 100% sure. Maybe it's over here. I'm not sure. As well as the power and I think sync or eject. I can't remember. Somewhere along here. Not 100% sure. Anyways, this just flips right out, and then I like to use some tweezers and just kind of wiggle it out first before I start yanking anything. And now this plastic piece will just lift right off. You're going to tilt it slightly to the front because there's a little bit of a lip. And this is kind of dusty, so before I put this back together, I'll clean it out. And now that we're on the bottom section, there's 2 screws holding this in too, one over here and here, and these are also T10. And lifts right up. Now you can also get to the hard drive without taking anything out. You just lift the Blu-ray drive up slightly and rotates. You'll have access to the hard drive as well as the connectors underneath it. So let me see if I can tilt it and get you in there. You'll see the hard drive connectors, hard drive power and the SATA connector right down here, and that's for the Blu-ray drive. So just twist it again so you can see it showing. Grab it, and I pointed this out on the PS4, the power supply connector, whatever the connector on the power supply. When you grab it, you don't want to just yank straight up. Wiggle it, rock it back to side to side. That will help prevent this connector from ripping off. Same thing with the SATA connector. You want to try and grab it and wiggle it side to side. And it comes right off. Move this all off to the side, and then you can get to the hard drive without completely disassembling it. All we really need to take off are these 4 screws right here on the outside edges. And I think these are T8. Let me just double check. Yep, T8 screws. So let me take all these off. And this will just lift right up from the plastic caddy, revealing their little adapter thing for the SATA. And we've got full access to the hard drive. So I'm going to go ahead and use a SATA to USB adapter, connect it to the computer, and then we'll hop on over there and see if this is damaged and if we need to replace it. Here we are on the computer. I'm going to go ahead and connect this drive. There we go. It's connected, but I don't hear a chime saying the USB device was connected, and I got no notification. We open up the hard drive manager here. Oh, yep, it shows up. And if we check File Explorer, we have all the drives, all the partitions for the drive. So it's showing up, but let's see if it's actually working properly. Open up HDTune Pro and the ASMT drive, health, yeah, reallocated sector count. So it's showing warning. If there's any warnings or errors on this, it's a bad drive. It might be kind of working, or maybe it's starting to fail, but at the end of the day, this is kind of a bad drive. I can start an error scan. I doubt it's going to have any errors, but using the error scan, it'll scan each sector, or what are they called? Are they called sectors on the hard drive? I can't remember exactly. It'll scan each sector of the hard drive to see if anything is damaged, or blocks, whatever. This will take a long time because it's a 1 terabyte drive, but I see it has a damage or a warning on reallocated sectors, so I'm not going to go with this drive. Let me just pause real quick. I'm going to grab a drive off my shelf that I know is good, and we'll get that set up to replace this one. The new hard drive is connected. I don't have any 1 terabyte drives on my shelf right now. All I have available are 500 gigs. So I'll just have to set this one up with a 500 gig drive because it would probably take this close to Christmas. It might take a week, week and a half, or if we get a new one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set this up with a 500 gig. And if you look around on the web, you're gonna try and find some software called Xbox One HDD Master. Um, I've heard that you can install just a blank, nothing on it drive in an Xbox One, and it'll format it and set it up for you. I haven't tried it. I don't really care to test it out because this process works. I'm going to open up I'm going to copy my path here up on the bar here. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to open up a command prompt as admin. And I've got this set up in the E drive, so I'll do E first, E colon, and then CD, paste that path. And now that I'm in this directory, we want to run the create Xbox. There we go. Just type create and then hit tab and it'll fill it out for you. Let's see, create Xbox One drive.bat. Hit enter. It'll start running. Any key to continue. I'm going to go with the A key because it's any key. And we want to go with the option A, which is replace upgrade hard drive without original or with a working original hard drive. I'm going to go with the hard drive that's in here is pretty much kaput. I don't want to try and bother using the original one whatsoever. A blank hard drive. So option A, enter, and it's the 5th disk because it's the ASMT one, which is what my USB adapter is called, and it's also 500 gigs. So number 5, enter, and this will erase all data on the disk. So continue, yes, Y, enter. It's 500 gig, so option A, enter, and now it's going to go through formatting and creating the partitions that are needed for the Xbox One hard drive. It should be pretty quick. This only ever takes a few seconds. I think update 2, and there should be one more part. Nope, that was it. So that finished. I can close this. Doo-doo-doo. Hopefully I can skip through that. My headset died. Anyways. So it ended. I'm going to press any key to continue. All it's really going to do is just close it. I can close the command prompt. And if I go back to this PC, you'll see all of the partitions are created here. And I'm going to come down to the little, I hit show hidden icons, right click this one, which is the connected drives, safely remove them, and the eject the ASMT. You always want to eject your drives before you just completely unplug them. This finishes any write processes that are being done on the drive, so it closes out everything and basically just prevents the hard drive from ever getting corrupted. So now that that's finished up, let's head on back to the Xbox and I'll screw everything back into place. Back on the bench, new drive is ready. We're just going to go ahead and put everything back in the opposite order we took it apart in. Here, because at the moment this hard drive caddy is just free hanging. Fortunately, it caught, I think, on one of the little plastic hooks or something here. So I'm going to use a screw and it'll grab the caddy too and pull it towards me. So right in, and then I'll do another one on the other side. Oh, losing magnetism. Fortunately, I have this wonderful little magnetizer demagnetizer thing that I got off eBay a long time ago. It isn't, you're not going to see it. There it is. Magnetizer on the bottom, demagnetizer on the top. I want to magnetize this bit. And then let me grab this screw and just hold it there. And the same thing, I'm going to go to the other corner. And screw it in. I just wanted to do that so in case I needed to flip back over to resettle it. We're going to press the connector back on for the USB port and the buttons on the front. And same thing, you want to try and line this up. Don't force this. If it's not going into its spot, just pull it back out, wiggle it around a little bit. And the easiest way to do it is make sure the holes on the top line up with the holes for the screw points. Because if you damage this connector, the USB port on the front is going to get messed up, as well as the sync and eject buttons are going to get messed up. So just trying to line up those holes, and I'm even bringing it down. I'll bring it down. How about that? Make it a little easier. Line up those holes, and then it's just going to slide right in. No force required. It just pops right in. It wants to go onto that connector, so just let it. And the other thing to get is the little ribbon connector here. I'll zoom in on this because it's a little more difficult to get it in than it is to get it out. But your friend is going to be some tweezers. Some nice sharp tweezers. Make sure your flap is up. You just want to grab it. You can use a little finger to help you line you up. And if you just grab it and kind of use your fingernail to keep it flat against the PCB, and then the tweezers will help guide it in. Boom, like that. Push the flap down, something in my nails. Push the flap down, and then it's good to go. That's together enough to test it out. So let me move some stuff out of the way. And zoom back out, because we're going to go through the setup process next. I'm going to go ahead and download the OSU1 update. You can find it on the Microsoft.com website. If you just Google Xbox One OSU download, you'll find the download page for it. But I'm going to grab that, load it to a USB drive that's formatted to NTFS, and I'll bring it back when I got everything connected. Yeah, I got the USB drive set up here, just a small like 16 gig flash drive with OSU1 update. I'm going to plug it into the USB port on the back because I'm going to use my Xbox controller connected through micro USB to USB cable instead of using batteries. So there's a USB port on the back here. Slides right in, and then we can press the power button over here. Lights up. Let's go to the TV. And it should error out. Yep, E106. We're going to go down to troubleshoots and offline system update. That's that OSU1 file that you download from Microsoft.com. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this because this will take about 5 or 10 minutes before I can actually get to the setup portion. there we are, all set up. So I can see it's working. So the hard drive was probably bad. The astute of you out there might also be thinking, well, I mean, it just had some warnings on the sectors. What if you just reinstalled the OSU1 update? The reason why I went ahead and took it apart anyway and tested that hard drive is just in case it was actually bad. I didn't want to install the OSU1 update and then, one more boot from now or next week, the same thing happens, E106. As E106 is an indicator there's a fault with the hard drive. So just doing this kind of makes sure that the system was good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the setup process on this. English, US, and this is going to have some of my personal settings here, so... Alright, finally back. That took way too long. I hate the Xbox One. Honestly, it takes seconds to set up a PlayStation 4, but it takes so long doing Xbox One. All you Xbox One fanboys out there, go ahead and feel free to leave a dislike or a comment down below telling me that I'm an idiot because Xbox One's amazing. I'm joking. I like all the systems. I'm rambling here, but I started on the PlayStation 1, then the PlayStation 2. I played the heck out of the PlayStation 2. Moved on to the 360 after that, and I love the 360. I love the feel of the controller. I loved how the system looked. And I played a heck of Halo, a bunch of like Dragon Ball Z games, Lego Star Wars, Fable. I love the 360. And then we got to the next generation, PS4 versus Xbox One. Original Xbox One, I kind of hated that system. I can't believe they went with an external power brick, just like they did with the 360. But it's built like a turd. But I'm gonna go ahead and grab a game. I'll be right back, and we'll hook this up and make sure that it's reading discs and installing everything properly. Wham bam, I'm back with the best game ever, Watch Dogs. I'm joking. I actually just like using Watch Dogs because this is like the first Xbox game I ever bought to test systems with. And it's worked out great because, one, it'll work on older versions of whatever system OS you're using. The Xbox One always has to be updated to the latest version whenever you log in or set it up initially. But the PS4, you can run it on older versions, and this works all the way back to like version 4 point something. And it's great too because it's only 26 gigs, 26 gigabytes big, so it installs relatively fast. I mean, 26 gigs on a Blu-ray drive does still take like half an hour, 45 minutes to install the full game. But enough rambling on, enough waffling. We'll go ahead and make sure the disk drive is working. Took it in very nicely. One thing I do like about the Xbox is the Blu-ray drive they went with. Let me bring you up actually. We can see it's working. Installing, and I'll wait till it gets to the point where you can actually launch the game and make sure it actually launches properly. But I'll just ramble on a little bit here. One thing I do love about the Xbox compared to the PlayStation 4 that Microsoft did a lot better on is the Blu-ray drive. It still can fail, but one common issue I'd see on a PS4 is the rollers that pull the disc in will get really dirty and not grab the disc because the Sony went with some kind of weird plastic. I don't think it's completely rubber, but it's plasticky rubber. But on the Xbox One, they went with straight up 100%, like the coating on the rollers are rubber. So they don't hold dirt as well, and they definitely grab the disc very nicely and grip it really well. So you never have an issue where the Xbox One doesn't pull a disc in because of dirty rollers, which is an issue I've seen on the PlayStation 4. So whenever I do a PS4, I always disassemble the disk drive, clean the laser, and clean those rollers so that they don't have any issues pulling discs. So it says it's installing now. This is going to take a few minutes. I will go ahead and speed through this part as well until it gets to... Actually, you know what? I'll just go ahead and come back once it's fully installed. That way I can kind of launch the game and show that it is working and everything is working properly. So I'll probably come back, and it says 10:25 up there. Might be close to 11. So I'll see you all, and it'll be a quick second for you, but half an hour for me. All right, finally, all set up. Installed is about 20-ish minutes, a little bit over. Anyways, we'll go ahead and start the game. It's gonna load in. Oh, I'll even turn. Now I'm not gonna turn the sound on or anything. I don't want a copyright claim or anything to happen in the video. So we'll leave it off, and maybe I'll get some music to play in the background, or I can just ramble on and talk about random things while I do this. Like this game, I've been using Watch Dogs to test my systems for like 2 years now, and the furthest I got on each system was, or the furthest system I got on was Xbox. For some reason, the Xbox has always had significantly more issues or troubling issues than the PS4. And so I had to test the Xbox One systems longer and more often and more frequently than PS4. As in, like, I can play a PS4 game for like 15, 20 minutes, and I know it's good to go. But I'll play a game on the Xbox One for 15, 20 minutes, and then right after I get to that 21-minute mark, bam, it fails. Could have been something to do with the hard drive or the Blu-ray drive. I didn't know. So I kept having to play through it on the Xbox. But Xbox One is, I've actually beat it on the Xbox One, and I've gotten like no progress whatsoever on the PS4 because the PS4 is the better system. Hate me if you want. But we're in the game, and you can see it loaded in and playing just fine. So I'm going to go with this system is working. No problem. One thing we will do is I'm going to grab a car. Something nice. This looks nice because it's close and parked. I'll just hop into this. We're going to drive around for a minute and just kind of load in some of the other parts of the map. Basically just doing that to test to make sure that the hard drive is working properly. Some of the issues I've seen in the past on the Xbox One is, although the game might install properly and load up, it seems like it's working. Once you actually start playing a game and you're loading the map, loading different parts of the map, when you go to different parts, it's loading resources and data off the hard drive for that different parts of the map, and that can cause the system to crash. That issue I was just talking about a little while ago where I was saying I had to test the Xbox One longer because it might get to 21 minutes and crash. It's because it usually has to do with the hard drive. The PS4 handles hard drive data a little bit better in the sense that if the hard drive is bad and it's trying to load resources off the hard drive and it can't because the sector is damaged that it needs to pull from, it'll just stop the game. But on the Xbox One, it'll just crash the system completely. So yeah, +1 for Sony on that part. I've also noticed that the PlayStation systems handle damaged hard drives better. I don't know if it's able to detect damaged sectors, and so it manages the data so that it doesn't put anything on those damaged sectors, compared to Xbox One where it'll just put it anywhere even if the sector is damaged because it's not checking for damaged sectors. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a developer for Sony or Microsoft. It's just from what I've seen from working on all these systems. But I've driven all around the map. Everything looks good to go. I'm going to go ahead and set it back up so you're sitting over the desk, and we'll finish putting this thing back together. Really just a few screws and reversing the process we did earlier. So see you in a second. All right, we're just going to reverse the process. I moved off to the side instead of being directly over me. That way you can see me kind of screwing and everything. I'll grab the nice long T10 screws here first. Drop one. And I'll put these in the little holes, because there's a few of them. I forgot to mention earlier too, the reason why I connected the Xbox One controller over USB first was to just test that USB port was actually working on the front, to make sure that the connector went on properly. I'll switch over to manual just so you guys don't hear the annoying sound. And one little tip that you can do is whenever you're screwing in a screw of plastic, if you go anti-clockwise, counterclockwise first until you hear a click, that's going to set the screw back into the threads that were created originally. So you can hear it right there. Okay, so that's it for that. Next thing is putting the cover on. So before you had to slide it forward and off to the edge. This way, we're just going to kind of hook it in here, slide it in to its little grooves, a little slot. It's just going to go right in, and then you just slide it back, and this sets into place. Flip it up to the top. You can see this screw. I'm going to do this one first, and I will switch back to manual. This one should definitely click. I've done this one a few times and it's been no issues. See how that click? I'll bring you in, because you can definitely hear this one. So that's it setting. It's setting. A little bit of a click. And you just screw it in. And there should be very little resistance because it's not making any new threads for that screw. It's just going right back into the hole. Bring it back out. And then we'll do the other one. Slide it over. And that's going to finish it. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. A little bit dirty on top. I'll clean it up, and this thing is good to go. So that's pretty much going to wrap up the episode. This video for the Xbox One. The PS4 Slim, last one, a little bit of a fail. Couldn't get that one working, but this one was nice and easy, and I knew I could get it going. So if you ever have the E106 error or E102, I think I've even seen like 201 and E101. Those are usually hard drive faults. If you ever seen E100 error, avoid at all costs. It's something to do with the Blu-ray drive, and I've not seen a fix for that error yet. So to wrap it up here, I don't want to keep waffling on anything. Hope you all enjoyed. Give me a like, comments if you did enjoy it, if you didn't enjoy it. If you got any feedback, I'm still getting new to this, or I'm still new to this and getting in the swing of things. And saying a lot. But yeah, I'm going to finish rambling. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. And enjoy the holidays, because it's December time. We're almost there at Christmas. Take care.